So most welcome Anusha from Australia, Teaching Associate, Faculty of Information Technology, Monash University, Melbourne, Australia. Welcome Anusha.
Thank you, Dr. Kalpana Guha.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to be with you all. And thank you so much for all the eminent speakers before me, especially सर जिन्होंने हम मेरे से पहले अभी इतना अच्छा स्पीच बताया, हमें बताया कि कैसे सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया बना सकते हैं. So let me start with my presentation and क्योंकि आज का मेरा विषय है एजुकेशन के ऊपर, so मैं अपने presentation की शुरुआत करना चाहूंगी सभी गुरुजनों को मेरा नमन और मेरा प्रणाम बोलते हुए, क्योंकि आज हमारे सारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स में मैं देख सकती हूँ कि हम सारे different professors are there and associate professors are there. So please consider this as my hearty welcome and my prayers for you all. So Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasme Shri Guruve Namah. I would like to thank Dr. Shanta, Principal, Holy Cross Women's College, for giving me this opportunity to be in this platform, to be in this seminar. So my topic today is about quality assurance in higher education, and I would like to bring your attention towards online versus face-to-face learning. क्योंकि आज की तारीख में अगर देखा जाए तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम कैसे एजुकेशन को ट्रांसफॉर्म कर रहे हैं या मूव कर रहे हैं, सो इसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा सा डिस्कशन करना चाहती हूँ. सो जैसे कि डॉक्टर कल्पना गुहा ने मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन दिया, जी मैं क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस एनालिस्ट हूँ. मैं आईटी कंपनीज में डिफरेंट सॉफ्टवेयर्स का टेस्टिंग करती हूँ. सो मैं ये समझती हूँ कि क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस है क्या. अगर कोई किसी से पूछे कि what is quality assurance, how would someone define quality assurance? So for me personally, I define quality assurance as something which is like a proof that yes, whatever you are being provided with, it is of utmost utility. It has certain standards that it has met, and it can be used for a long run. So ये चीज आप किसी भी इंडस्ट्री में यूज कर सकते हैं. क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस सिर्फ सॉफ्टवेयर्स या मैकेनिकल इंडस्ट्रीज या प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए ही नहीं है. एजुकेशन में भी क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है. सो आज के एजेंडा में, so we will be looking into current scenario, what's going around in the global world currently in the education sector, especially in higher education and university level education. And then we will discuss about face-to-face learning and about online learning and how they are varied, yet they are similar. And then we will look into the opportunities or the pros, as we say, for what happened with online learning, and discuss about the challenges, because challenges are what we are seeing now with online learning. And then I'll also discuss potential solutions with respect to my experience in Australia here in the higher education at university level. So I'll share my experiences. I hope the examples that I share can be used in some form in your area of course as well. And then we'll quickly discuss a bit about the role of QA and how significantly important it has been, it is going to be as well in the future. So if we discuss the current scenario, let's take the steps from, let's take the perspective of, different stakeholders that are involved. So सबसे पहले students. So अगर एक student के हिसाब से सोचा जाए तो what's going on currently? All of a sudden, everything stopped, everything was locked down, everything was closed. There is no certainty. There is so much of unexplained and undiscussed questions that they are left with, and they are not sure how their career will progress further. and then suddenly it's a lockdown. Students don't know what to do about it. Most of them have been told that, okay, it's a vacation time, please go ahead with vacation, we'll let you know how we start with the education system again. So that is something which was common across the globe, irrespective of whether it was India or all the developing nations or even the first world countries like US, UK, Europe, all the European countries and Australia. So there was this sudden break to that smooth flow of education that they were going through. Now, coming to the second stakeholders with regards to higher education, where the teaching and the non-teaching staff. So what happened suddenly? Everything was planned. You had your planners already set up and you were happy to go ahead, plan for, say, semester 1 of 2020, semester 2 of 2020. Everything was planned. And all of a sudden, as the semester started or as the semesters were midway, suddenly it's decided that everything will be closed and suddenly you have to be completely online. So there were so many questions that even the staff had. How were they supposed to deal with it? So all these questions are something which are currently being dealt with. There are still a lot of questions that are unanswered, like what tools to use, how do you upskill yourself. So many of us are struggling with internet connection, not availability of technology. So how do we deal with all of this as a teaching staff, as someone who is responsible for teaching and mentoring and guiding this future generations? So we were all left in a question mark as well. Coming to the next, which is the institutes, the colleges, the university, they were all as well in a state of shock. There was no, as I call it, education continuity plan, which we find usually in all the different industries. A lot of universities did have, a lot of universities adapted, and they are going with the flow, calling themselves agile and adaptable. And that's how we are moving ahead with the current scenario that is going. Are we sure how we are going to go ahead with the coming semesters? Is it something that's going to end at 2020? Or is this going to be a new normal that is going to continue in 2021 as well? Do we have answers for all these questions? Personally, I don't think we do. We are planning accordingly. We are adapting as the day goes on. And probably as we learn, we will be implementing more ways to learn, more ways to deal such scenarios. So let's move ahead with the two different types of learning that are there. So when it comes to face-to-face learning, what were the main things? How was it different than what we are supposed to do right now with the online learning? So with face-to-face learning, with my experience here, that I would love to share with you guys. So face-to-face learning was a pre-reading section, which started with, where the students were advised to do some pre-reading from notes, from videos, from referring to textbooks. That was the first part, which is the pre-learning. Then comes the learning phase, where we as their faculty members, we interact with the students through lectures, through workshops, through tutorials. We share our knowledge, we interact with the students, and that's the learning process that goes on. And then comes the last phase, which is the post-learning phase, which is where we do the assessments. Like we conduct quizzes or ask them to complete some kind of assignments, assessments, to ensure that the students have learned the knowledge that has been transferred to them, right? So that was the face-to-face learning. Now, if you think in a way, अगर ऐसा सोचा जाए कि ओ बस पढ़ाना ही तो था, उसको ऑनलाइन में रिकॉर्ड करके क्यों नहीं शेयर कर सकते? इट्स नॉट दैट सिंपल, राइट? अगर आप सोचें कि बस एक सामने सामने में जो आप अपने स्टूडेंट से बात करते हैं, क्या बस वो उतना तक ही लिमिटेड है? बस नॉलेज शेयर करने तक ही लिमिटेड है? नहीं. There are so many external factors that get involved. ऐसा हो सकता है कि द स्टूडेंट इज रियली नॉट कंफर्टेबल, बहुत शाई है, तो वो इन पर्सन में आपसे धीरे से बात करके अपने प्रॉब्लम्स शेयर कर सकता है. You can make them feel comfortable when you are face to face. You give them more attention, or say you are in a class of 20 or 40 students. तो ऐसे में हर बच्चे को फुल अटेंशन की हमेशा जरूरत नहीं होती है. When you are in face to face, you can identify easily कि there are certain students who might need your attention more than the other students that are there. So that becomes really easy to assess. Say students are not being engaged. In that case, what do? So there are so many factors that are involved, which makes face-to-face learning easy, conventional, and it has been something which has been going on. And especially when we consider India, हमारे में गुरु शिष्य परंपरा हमेशा से चली आई है. तो ऐसा तो नहीं था ना कि गुरु एक लेटर में लिख के अपना नॉलेज पास कर देते थे. There has to be a reason why face-to-face learning is considered the most important. So that's about face-to-face learning. Now coming to online learning. So with this COVID situation, because we had to be at different places, at different, we have to be in lockdown, in isolation. So what way could have been implemented to ensure that there is a continuation of education going on? And the best solution that could have been thought of was online education. Online education is not something that is new. It has been there for a long time now, which we call as distance education or online learning. There are so many startups that are there. There are so many institutions that run online learning for a long time. But this time, online learning was changed completely. This time, everybody was supposed to be part of the online learning. So what are the things that we had to consider when it came to online learning? Do we have to convert everything that was face-to-face into online? Do we just convert them and give it away? Will that be sufficient for the students to understand, to interact, to pass on all the information that's needed? Or say, was it required ki with online learning, you were supposed to, come up with creative ways to ensure that, you are passing on the right information in the right method so that everybody gets that information and we are not discriminating anyone. We are not leaving behind any student. I think that's what is the key goal as a teacher, as a lecturer, as a professor, that we have to be aware of. We have to make ensure that, we are making sure that every student is equal to us. We are ensuring that every student gets the same information that we want to share with them. So this was something which was needed in online learning. So let's move ahead with understanding further how they are different. So when it came to online learning, it is more student centric, because we are trying to ensure that we are reaching out to student at their comfort level. We are using multimedia for content delivery. The communication is through written or through direct, so we can either have like Zoom calls or webinars or Microsoft Teams. So there are a lot of different communication channels that could be used to do the online communication. Now, when it came to face-to-face learning, it was more teacher-centric, and it was used, the content was delivered through lectures, through textbooks, and communication was more verbal. So what is required when it comes to where we are trying to merge, ensure that, we are taking the best out of both online learning and face-to-face learning? The first thing is the proactive involvement of both student and teacher. And how do we do that? We have to ensure that the communication is smooth. There are a lot of different communication channels that are available right now, which could be used to ensure that you are able to reach out to the maximum number of students who are available. So there are like right now we are using Zoom. This is a brilliant tool that is available that you can use. You have so many different nice features that you can use in Zoom. There is breakout rooms where you can break down your large class into smaller groups and you can interact with them. You can ensure that they are interacting among themselves. There is a whiteboard which is available in Zoom, which you can use as something that you can utilize to, share your knowledge, as something similar to that we have in our conventional method. Blackboard की जगह एक whiteboard use करना है. That has been provided, and that's what we will be using. Let's take the other examples of communication, like Microsoft Teams. एक और software that you can use to ensure कि every student is there available and you can interact with them in the similar manner. So that is something which you can use further. And it's not only the softwares, it is also the ideas that you use to ensure कि you're able to reach out to the students properly, like using of icebreakers. Now, when I say icebreakers का मतलब है कि आप ऐसा क्या बोल के एक कॉन्वर्जेशन स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं जिससे स्टूडेंट्स एंगेज हो. There is a difference between face-to-face humor and online conversation. So ऑनलाइन में ऐसा हो सकता है कि आपने मजाक में कुछ बोल दिया, बट इट गेट्स इन द रॉन्ग वे टू द स्टूडेंट्स. सो ऐसा क्या यूज कर सकते हैं, ऐसा स्टैंडर्ड क्या यूज कर सकते हैं जिससे स्टूडेंट्स भी ऑफेंड ना हो और आप भी अपना इंफॉर्मेशन इजीली पास कर सके, आप स्टूडेंट्स को इंटरेस्ट दिला सके कि दे आर made sure that they listen to you. So these are few tips and tricks that can be used for communication. Now, with respect to next with online learning, what is the next part? The major part is engagement of the students. How do we engage the students to our maximum potential ability? Because online में it's so easy. आप अपना student अपना video off कर सकते हैं, mute में चले जा सकते हैं, and you will never know that whether the student is there or not. You have to keep using, you have to keep calling them out that, are you there? Are you there? Are you guys listening? So it becomes tough as a teaching associate or as a lecturer or someone who is teaching, that how do you ensure that the students are engaged? So there are different platforms, there are different ways in which you can use different methods and tools that can help you in making sure that the students are engaged. जैसे कि मैं आपके साथ एक दो examples share करना चाहती हूँ. Let me just push this. Okay, so जैसे कि there is this padlet.com बोल के है, इसके थ्रू आप अपना सारा जो रिटर्न वर्क है या एक ऑनलाइन बोर्ड जैसा रहेगा जिसमें आप एक साथ as a student and as a teacher you can share your knowledge together. So आप ऐसे you can be a part of this, you can share your information and the students can share their information as to what they understood from learning these. So this is one way of interacting with the students while you're teaching them to ensure that they are engaged. Until unless the students are not involved, if there is just one way of communication, it would hardly make any impact. It would be as good as being in an empty lecture theater and giving out your knowledge. Then there is another way, which is called as h5p.org, which helps in creating contents. So आप अपना lecture बहुत interactive बना सकते हैं. आप अपने lecture में quizzes involve कर सकते हैं या आप अपने tutorial या workshop में बहुत कुछ involve कर सकते हैं. Interactive videos या आपने एक map डाल दिया या आप कोई एक specific say you are from a medical course, so आप कोई एक specific वो बताना चाहते हैं कि ओके आप एसेस करना चाहते हैं कि स्टूडेंट्स कैसे इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं टू टेस्ट देम ऑन द गो. सो ऐसे बहुत सी चीजें हैं विच यू कैन यूज, लाइक क्विज डाल दिया, रिकॉर्डिंग चार्ट्स, इंटरेक्टिव चार्ट्स where students can click and they can know more about it. So this is one way of engaging them. Then there is Google Drawings. So if you click on Google Drawings, Google almost सारे स्टूडेंट्स के पास पॉसिबली है, and we have to be aware that a lot of our students are millennial and they understand technology way better than us. There is no doubt about it. At my place, I am more technologically challenged than my own sister. She is more technologically advanced, so if I need any help, she's the one who helps. आई एम प्रिटी श्योर आपके घरों में आपने अभी जब ज्वाइन किया होगा, ऐसा हो सकता है कि हाफ या एटलीस्ट 60% आपके बच्चों ने या आपके ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन ने या आपके नीस नेफ्यूज ने आपको हेल्प किया होगा. सो the students, your students know the technology, so why not use it as an advantage, right? So आप ऐसे different drawing boards use कर सकते हैं जिसमें सारे students एक साथ काम कर सकते हैं. So ये हो गया. And then there is something called as lucid chart. लूसिड चार्ट में आप डिफरेंट वेज ऑफ टूल्स यूज कर सकते हैं. आप उसमें फ्लो चार्ट्स बना सकते हैं, सीक्वेंस डायग्राम्स बना सकते हैं. सो ऐसे बहुत सारे इंटरेक्टिव टूल्स अवेलेबल हैं जिससे एक बार में एक साथ आपके स्टूडेंट्स एंड you can all collaborate together. So these are just few examples that can be used in online learning. Now this till now was about engagement of the students. The last part that comes is about assessment. Assessment kaise kare? How do you ensure that whatever they have learned, whatever information you have passed, how do you ensure that the students have learned? So for this, there are again different ways that you can do. There are interactive assessment tools like I'll show you an example after this, which is called Kahoot. बहुत easy है, आप बहुत interactive way में quizzes बना सकते हैं. Most of the students have some kind of digital devices, तो वो उनमें use करके they will be more involved. So Kahoot is a good example. फिर अगर say आपको एग्जाम लेना है, so आप ओपन बुक एग्जाम्स कर सकते हैं, which is a common thing. Assessments या पूरे सेमेस्टर में you can have continuous assessments that can help to ensure that, okay, instead of one big chunk of exams for 100 marks, you break it across smaller chunks of marks and put it across the whole semester so that the students are involved. They are putting in the effort to ensure that they are completing those assessments and meeting the criteria that yes, they have been assessed properly. Or you can think about wherever it is possible, interview based. Say unka internet kharab hai, you're not able to reach them properly, so how do you reach them? Whichever way is possible, we have to try and reach out to our students accordingly. Then there is other which I feel is very, very effective and has been used even in the courses that I have been teaching here in Monash University, which is reflection based assessment. So where we provide them with a question that based on your learnings throughout the semester or in this course, what are the things that you have learned? How are you going to implement it in the future? So these are potential ways of involving or assessing the students. So this is about the different kinds of learnings, the tools that can be used in online learning. Now, what are the pros or what were the opportunities that happen? First thing which I personally learned from a lot of students by talking to them was flexible learning hours. So it was not restricted that you come in at 9 o'clock and get done by 5 p.m. In the evening, and that's it. So if somebody is comfortable reading at night, they were more comfortable reading at their own timeline. There was no restriction. There were videos available, recordings available. So the flexible learning hours were really helpful. The next is easy self-learning and less distraction. ऐसे बहुत से students होते हैं who perform really well when they are studying alone. I myself personally, when I was a student, at least a couple of years back, I would prefer studying alone. If I'm in a group, I would start chit-chatting. And that's what we find usually in the class as well. We have to pick on people and say, don't talk or don't do this and please concentrate in your own papers. So if students who are happy to read or who get distracted easily, they had a very good opportunity to learn properly, concentrate. And I think this is where the engagement comes into picture during the lectures, that if we keep them engaged or we made sure that they are engaged, a lot of students had their full potential focus on the things that were being taught to them. The next thing is upskill in technological advancements. There is so much of technology now available. Both students and as teachers or faculty, everybody had to upskill themselves, which is definitely required as a life skill as well right now. You have to be aware of all the different technological aspects, if not all, at least major of them, so that as a student in their career future in the workspace, they are comfortable using them. And the next is save the travel cost and time. This had been one of the most important points that had been pointed out by a lot of students of mine, who kept mentioning that, oh, I have saved a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy. So a lot of students, I'm pretty sure, and I am sure, because जब मैं भी इंडिया में अपना अंडरग्रेड कर रही थी, I used to travel 2 hours to and then fro to just reach my university, to get my classes done and come back. इतना सारा ट्रैवल में एनर्जी टाइम चला जाता था कि वापस आने के बाद there was no way कि I could sit and study. So this is something which a lot of students, as well as a faculty, we face, right? Like if we don't use our own private transportation, if we are using public transportation, it takes a lot of time. Say you have a class at 8 in the morning, you have to get up at 5, get ready, get dressed, everything, pack, get ready, and travel all the way to your university, and then attend the classes or teach the classes. So it takes almost a lot of time and energy of yours in the day. So these were the these are a couple of few things that were highlighted as the pros or good things that happened because of online learning. Now coming to the challenges, a lot of students felt less engaged. They were A lot of students who did not wish to be part of it had a blast. They were happily switching off their cameras, switching off their audios, and they were just sitting and chilling. So there was a lot less students who were engaged. This happened to a lot of places because either the lecture was just recorded and shared to them, or there was hardly any interaction provided between the teaching staff and the students. So this was something which hampered a lot of students, because there are a lot of students who need this kind of interaction with their faculty to understand the concepts better. A lot of students feel it's easier when they talk and discuss, debate about certain topics with their faculty or with their peers, with their friends while learning. So this was something that was impacted. Second, a lot of students didn't have access to internet and technology. It is an undeniable fact that irrespective of whether it's a first world country or a developing country, there are places in those countries where there is no access to internet, no access to technology. Laptop nahi hai, internet nahi hai, कैसे, how would they engage, how would they be part of the education in that case? So these were a very, very big challenge for I guess most of us. Third one, limited time to convert the teaching material. आई रिमेम्बर यहाँ पे जब हमको बताया गया कि लॉकडाउन होगा एंड एवरीथिंग विल बी ऑनलाइन, वी पर्सनली वेर गिवन इन आवर कोर्स वेर गिवन specifically a week to convert everything. So we essentially had such a short time to convert everything that we had planned or we had for the semester, the contents, everything was to be converted online suddenly. The teaching staff was expected to upskill very quickly. A lot of people are not comfortable with technology that easily. So in that case, क्या कर सकते हैं? That was the question. So the trainings were overloaded with information. एक बार में 1.5-2 घंटा 4 घंटे का ट्रेनिंग, ऐसे करना है, वैसे करना है, यहाँ क्लिक करना है, यहाँ क्लिक करना है. A lot of people are not comfortable. A lot of teaching staff themselves are not comfortable doing it. So how do we ensure that how do we ensure the training of the faculty members? How do we ensure that students are trained enough? So in all of this, in limited time, there was so much of problem. Yes, lot of consideration was provided. Students were more understanding. University was understanding. It was not that, okay, you have to be perfect at the first go. You could be evolving as you go, and that's what we are doing, of course, but still it's a challenge. How do you convert? How much time would you need to be perfectly at a place like that? The next, which is very important, which a lot of us tended to just ignore, was overall health and mental health aspects of both the teachers as well as the students in this online learning experience. इतना स्ट्रेस, इतना टेंशन, बाहर नहीं जा सकते, ग्रोसरी नहीं खरीद सकते, क्या हो सकता है, बाहर गए कोरोना हो गया तो, और there were so many uncertainties. Like, all the students who were in the last semester, they were unsure. How are they gonna graduate? How are they gonna go ahead with their job life? Do they have any scope of jobs further? The teaching staff, there is so many uncertainties that if I don't upskill, if there is a redundancy that happens, how am I supposed to convert everything into online? Will I be able to do it? There are so many questions. There are families that are there near you, there are students who are away from their families. So there was so much that impacted, that these were very, very important, and a major thing that was kind of not given full attention to, but did impact in a major way. So these were the key challenges that had happened for during the online learning. Now, I want to share a couple of potential solutions. I've already discussed with you a lot of different technologies before. So there are a few more that I want to share with you, like using interactive in-class assessment. So this is what I was calling Kahoot. And you can use this, so it looks like this. So आप as a teacher you will see this, and आप इसको जब share करेंगे, students can use their mobile and they can click on one of those options, and that will give them their answer. Then there are courses which could not be done properly on online. Like one of the courses that I was teaching here, I had students from radiation science. So they are supposed to use all the tools, the X-ray machines, the CT scans, and etc. How are they supposed to use it if everything is closed down? So Philips has an online learning games that's available. Everybody can look into it. Like if you are interested, you can actually search Philips Online Learning Center. There are a lot of games that are available which are specifically for medical science. So if you are someone into sciences, this is a good place to look for online simulators. So if you're not able to do physically, at least give the students some kind of online simulators to work with, so that at least they can learn about it, that okay, this is how it looks, this is how it is. Yes, it's not perfect, but at least the nearest that you can give, so that the students are not hampered, their education is not hampered. The last, which I think is very, very important, is mimicking or making sure that it is work based learning. कि कल आप जब इंडस्ट्री में जाएंगे, आप क्या फेस करेंगे, if we can replicate that while we are teaching, that has a tremendous effect on the students. We are preparing them for future. Aren't there people in the IT industry who are working from home currently? Not only IT industry, there are so many industry where people are working from home, or people are alternatively going to offices and working. Everything has changed even in industries. So if we can bring in that knowledge from the industry and try to ensure that we are teaching our students in the same way, I think that is going to help them a lot, especially in the courses like computer science and engineering, information technology. It's very easy. Everybody in those sectors are working from home. People are starting their career from working from home. So why not give that experience to the students? Make like groups and then ask them to work together on a final product. So there are a lot of different ways in which we can involve the students and try to ensure that they are getting the right kind of experience and information even during this online setup. So now coming to the role of QA. Now, as I was discussing at the start, um, when we see education, what are the key areas that we have to look into? One is the teaching and learning. One is the student assessment, the staff development, the course. But I think about covering all of this is the core thing is student development and experience, which is the most important. They are our key stakeholders. Students are the most important part of this whole education sector, right? I don't think there is any other way around. अगर बच्चे ही नहीं रहेंगे, if there are no students, who are we going to teach to? Who are we giving our information to? Who are we sharing our knowledge with? So the role of QA comes very important. There are so many institutions that are there, which are responsible for ensuring that our education is meeting certain criterias. They are of certain standards, and that's how we ensure that the education is of a good standard. Now, how do we do it, or what are the things that we can think about when it comes to in scenarios like this? I think no institute, no educational institute was in a place ready or had ever imagined that they would have to go all online out of nowhere. This was something that nobody would have foreseen. These are potential scenarios that nobody had thought through. So in these cases, the role of QA comes into picture. Now it has, more than ever, the role of QA has become very important. Like, as a third party, like, as a third party institute, one should try to assess a particular university or college or a course in a way that they are prepared for the future, especially with online learning. What are the new criterias that should be brought into? That has to be thought about. What are the new standards? Will we be able to still go ahead with the old standards, the checklist? I don't think that's possible. What are the new things that are to be provided by the university or by government, to help the teaching staff? What are the different facilities that we are providing to the teaching staff or the researchers that are there? So I'll give a small example from here. The university that I work, which is Monash University. So the university decided that since we are going online and a lot of faculty members might not have proper internet connection or something, the university rented out, say, wireless communication equipments to them. If there were students who did not have laptops or technological any material or tools with them, so university rented out a lot of laptops or systems that were there in the labs, so that at least the student can use them properly and learn, and then again return back. So I think these are few small examples that a lot of universities would have done. And if they haven't, I think this is a very good place to start thinking about it. If you have resources at your colleges, you have that infrastructure, if it is moving online, why can't we just rent out them accordingly, plan properly, and share it with the students, the teaching staff, so that the education system continues? In a lot of industries, especially with IT industry, which I have been associated with, we always have something called as business continuity plan, where if something goes wrong, what's next? How do we shift it? Say your servers are in one particular city, your server is in Mumbai, and Mumbai is flooded. What is your backup plan? How do you continue? So in the similar way, I think education continuity plan should be something that has to be implemented, that has to be thought through while doing quality assurance, because we need some kind of plan B. We need some kind of continuity plan, which would ensure that, okay, there is not a complete sudden stop to our education system, and we are continuing this knowledge transferring continuously with the students. So so bringing all this into picture and summarizing, मैं बस इतना ही बोलना चाहूंगी कि there are a couple of things that we have to keep in mind. One is we have to be very, very empathetic. हमको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि students बस ऑनलाइन पढ़ना नहीं चाहते हैं या कोशिश नहीं कर रहे हैं. हमको ये समझना पड़ेगा एज टीचर्स की मे बी दे आर ऑल्सो ट्राइंग, वो भी कोशिश कर रहे हैं. And I think it's a two-way around thing, where as students, they are also supposed to, as students are supposed to understand, be empathetic with us, the teaching faculty, ki wo bhi koshish kar rahe hain. Just the other day, I saw a video of an old faculty member being teased around and bullied online by the students. It was so heartbreaking. As teachers, as faculty members, a lot of us are also upscaling. We are also trying every day to learn something. We are learning and growing as the students. So it is going to be a two-way process. We have to be more gentle. बहुत प्यार से, बहुत ध्यान से हमको इस चीज को कंटिन्यू करना पड़ेगा, और एल्स इट वुड बी जस्ट अ वन वे कम्युनिकेशन। जैसे मतलब आपने स्पीकर डाल दिया और लेक्चर चला दिया, बस हो गया, आपका काम भी खत्म, स्टूडेंट्स सुन रहे हैं नहीं सुन रहे हैं, उनका भी काम भी खत्म। सो इट शुडंट बी इन दिस प्लेस. It has to be ki both as teachers and as students we are interacting together, working together, build that relationship irrespective of whether it's face to face or online, and continue our learning program. So thank you all for listening, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.